Yo, 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 you tuned in to G5 Jeff TV. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button as you come on in. Your boy is out of YouTube jail. We are back. G5 Jeff TV is back on YouTube live. Hold on, we got a guest up in here already. Hold up.
Yo, is there a reason why I can't see you? Why is your camera black?
You can't see me?
I can see you now.
Okay. Well, it's good to see you, good brother.
I'm good. It's good, man.
We back, man.
Definitely.
We
Definitely.
uh
Definitely.
we both look like we've been in jail.
Yeah, I know, man. The COVID got me looking scruffy.
Hey, man,
I
but
look like
that's all right.
a baby food no more.
Hey, man, that's all right, man. There ain't nothing wrong with it. How we sounding?
From my end, you're sounding good, but I don't know how you sound from everybody else's end.
Okay. Well, we got a couple people watching right now. We're gonna wait for a couple more people to jump on in. But we're gonna cover the 168 pound division. Division hot, man. The division hot. As soon as Canelo say he gonna step in the division, man, the division becomes hot. You know what I mean?
Of course, because he's the cash cow. He's the cash cow. He's got the money behind him, so that's what's gonna
Exactly.
happen.
Exactly. But I just want to give a shout out to a couple of people before we even get started. Shout out to BoxingFirst Vlog, aka Blunt, aka
Is he
Blunt
jumping
Davis.
in?
I sent him the link, so he should be in here. Big shout out to him. Big shout out to Scott Lang, man. Big shout out to him. Big shout out to Will. Big shout out to Chris. We got my boy Jalik in the building. Jalik, what's up with you? Hey, Jalik, I gotta tell you something, man. I could have went without watching those fights on Saturday, bro.
I think anybody could. I think anybody could.
Hold on. Shane, Jalik was like, yo, we in the same Facebook group. So Jalik was like, yo, I'm not watching the Plant and Truax fight. I'm like, bro, you gotta watch the fight. Jalik like, keep me on. He was like, you know, keep me up on what's going on Twitter. I said, all right, cool. So I was just dropping YouTube videos after the fights. And then after the fights is over, I was like, damn, I was like, Jalik was right, yo. I could have just DVR'd this shit.
I
Big
mean,
shout out.
the fight wasn't that entertaining, to be honest. So I wasn't that entertained by it. It was
Bro,
a pretty. It
it,
was a, I wouldn't even say I wasn't entertained. It was just normal.
yeah, and the thing is, I gotta give credit where credit is due. Jalik a real one. So I gotta give it up to Jalik, the leader. You was correct. I could have had a better, Saturday night watching some throwback movies or something. But yeah, I mean the Caleb Plant fight wasn't that exciting. The Michael Coffey and Darmani Rock fight was okay. But it was only 3 rounds. Joey Spencer was a first round knockout. Um Atif O'Barrelton, who made his debut, he's from my city. That was 3 rounds. Rances Bartholomew put me to sleep. So yeah, like Jalik was right.
That, that's a trend. That's a trend with Bartholomew. To be honest, that's a trend. He kind of does
I
that quite often.
That's why I can't wait for Boxing First Vlog to jump up in here. That's his guy. So
Oh, seriously?
yeah, he
Wow.
I was being too hard on Rances. I was being too hard on him in my YouTube video. So I'm pretty sure he gonna have a couple things to say. Age Elite. Who you like at 168, man? Give me your top 5 at 168. Shane, do me a favor, put the link. It maybe in about like 10-15 minutes. Put the link. Put the link to the live. Put it in the chat.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Yeah, do it in like 15 minutes though.
All right. The
Yeah,
link to the live, to the chat. What chat?
the link that I gave you to jump on the live.
Oh, so I'm gonna put it in this chat, the comments.
Put it in the comment section in about 15 minutes.
Okay.
They can't get in unless I let them in. So it's okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But Shane, give me your thoughts 168 right now. Who's your top 5 right now?
I mean, I keep it 100. 168 was a division that was, I mean, being British, and again, you know me, I'm not a massive British fan, but I through history, you always keep an eye on 168. Joe Calzaghe, Nigel Benn, Eubank, and then obviously you had the last crop that came through, George Groves, uh, George Groves, De Gale, and what's the other guy's name that was just there? Forgot his name. Carl Froch. So you,
Right.
as a Brit, you always keep your eyes on the 168 division. But the last, let's say, year or so, it's been quiet. I mean, since Zerdo moved up, I wasn't really interested in the division because how he was handled in the division in itself, I just kind of thought was a massive. You got to look at it from how we see in England. Remember the same way in America how they portray Terence Crawford and PBC kind of shun him away. Those who know about Crawford, they pay attention. So in England, when we had Eubank, De Gale, Groves, Smith, all in the division, it seemed like all of the belts and all of the attention was in England, and they kind of shunned Zerdo Ramirez out of it. Whereas someone like me who knows boxing from both sides of the pond, you kind of thought I didn't really like it. So I was never really a fan of the 168-pound division or 168 pounds. But since he's moved up, I guess people have been a bit more open to fight one another. I mean, Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders were supposed to fight each other. That fight didn't manifest. Then you had the Benavidez and Plant fight. That didn't manifest. So there was a few fights that was on the cards that didn't really come to fruition. So since then, it's been quite fun to see what Canelo's done. You know, Canelo's gone up there. He's fought Callum Smith. He's fighting Yildirim. He's gonna fight Billy Joe Saunders after. So it's just refreshing to see someone actually fight the top dogs. I know the other guys ain't fighting around each other, but it's just refreshing to see that there's at least a bit of intent at the top, and there's a clear vision to see that we will see who will be the winner after these fights pan out. But to answer your questions, who I see as the top 5, I mean, Canelo I see as number 1. I think, are we still seeing Benavidez as a 168 pounder because
Yes.
he hasn't
Until he
fought
fights
at
at
170?
175, we see him at
Exactly.
168.
So I would say he's my number 2. I would say I'll still have Callum Smith as my number 3 just because he has a better win than Caleb Plant, who will be my number 4. And then my number 5 will be Billy Joe Saunders.
Okay. Jalik said Canelo, Benavidez, Berlanga, Plant, and Steve Nelson. You talking about Steve So Cold Nelson? That's an interesting name.
I
I
feel
like,
like
and the thing
it's a
is,
bit early to say
yeah,
Belong. I like Belong. He's one of my favorite prospects, but
yeah,
he hasn't
I like
done enough.
Berlanga and I like Steve Nelson. I just think it's too early to throw him in the top 5. But I'm not mad at that Jalik at all.
I think when you're basing it on trajectory, you can say Belonga.
Bro.
Oh, is that Chris G? Wow, I think
Yeah,
this
we
is his
got my
first
guy Chris
appearance
G in the
on the
building.
channel.
A Chain. Put the link in the chat.
I'm gonna do it now. If I'm looking away, it's because I'm doing it on my other device. So
That's cool. Wow. He said, "Yeah, I think Nelson better than Plant right now. Nelson number 3. Wow. Okay. Hey, Chris, what's going on, player?
Hey, what's up, man?
I just put the link in. So.
Okay.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro. Can you hear him?
Cool.
Hey, Chris, what's going on with you, bro?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just left the JOB about an hour ago.
Hey, hold on.
First,
hold on,
Jeff. You gotta give him a good welcome. You gotta give him this is his first
hold
time.
on. I'm about to give him a good welcome. Let me tell you something about Chris. Hey, Jalik, hold on. Jalik, I'm waiting for one more person to get in, and then I want you to jump on. Jalik be on live all the time and send me the link, so I gotta get him on.
I just sent him the link already.
I got you. Let me tell you something about Chris. So Chris been following the channel for the longest. So I had a long conversation with him a couple months ago. He said, "Yo, G5, you one of the people to turn me into a hardcore." So, people tell me that you like, all right, cool. But he sent me like screenshots of some of his back and forths with people. And I'm like, this dude, the actual hardcore. Like he literally be dropping facts. I'm like, I feel like that's my boxing son. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, big shout out to Chris, man. Like he's the epitome of like a hardcore boxing fan that got ears and is willing to listen and learn and like understand the landscape. So big shout out to Chris. Big shout out to you, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Hey, man. That's
So
what we do over here. We got English guy in the building. We got Beast Killer in the building. What's up with y'all? What's up?
So before you go to the comments, though, Chris, what would you say what would you say your top 5 for the division is? 168 pounds.
68. I would say Canelo is number 1. Number 2 is David Benavidez. Number 3, is it like personal like preference, like the style, or is it more like who's the actual top 5?
No, just your top 5, no particular order, just your top 5 guys.
Oh, okay. Okay, so David Benavidez, Canelo, Edgar Berlanga. Who else is there?
Let me help you out. You got Caleb Plant. You got Zerto Ramirez. Who else?
No, he's at
175.
He's at 175.
Who, Zerto?
Yeah, Zerto's at 170.
Yeah, why I keep on thinking he's 168? And he just fought. And he had the war with Jesse Hart. I'm bugging. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was thinking. I'm trying. I forgot because I only keep up with like the Caleb Plant, David Benavidez, Edgar Berlanga. I'm trying to think of the other.
You got one more.
You could say, what's his name still in the division? You can still give him a shout out. What's it called? Darrell. If you're looking at it from an American perspective, you can say Danny Jacobs. He moved up to 168.
Danny Jacobs.
Oh, yeah,
but Smith is still there, even though he got beat by Canelo. He just got beat by the top guy.
Yeah.
Oh, Callum Smith
Smith too. So, Chris, you can ponder on it, your 5th one. Let me get the comments real quick.
Go from the top. I'm
gonna go from the top. We got Jalik the leader. He said, I think Nelson is better than Plant right now. Nelson is number 3 on his list. Wow. Wow. Hold on. I'm gonna get Jalik in here in a little bit, and I'm gonna let him explain that one. I can't really comment on that. I gotta hear the whole picture first.
Yeah.
And that's my bro too, so I'm gonna give him my opportunity. English guy, big shout out to you. He said Nelson hasn't beat anybody yet for us to be able to judge his level. I would tend to agree with that. English guy said, in my opinion. Beast Killer, big shout out to Beast Killer. I think he might be new. Canelo.
He said he's a new sub. He said he's a new sub.
He said he's a new sub. Big shout out to Beast Killer. A Beast Killer. Listen, you got Instagram. Drop your Instagram in the chat. So we can send you the links when we go live, man. We'd love to have you on.
What I would say before just go to the comments, anybody who's watching who's new, what you would understand is Chris is another person who was just someone who was in the comments and he just gets to jump on. So
yeah,
in the live, you get to jump on regardless.
And I talked to Chris outside of the channel. Like if there's anything going on is boxing, Chris hits me up. And I called Chris. I've called you a couple times.
Oh, right? Yeah, you have.
Yeah, it was like damn near midnight. I'm like, I called him. I'm like, yo, what you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying?
It was the night where Adam Konatsky got knocked out
by Robert Helenius.
Yeah, it was that. Yeah.
And I called him, but the thing is, Chris, I talk to Shane every day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's crazy. Like Shane lucky he live in the UK, man, because I'd probably be stopping by his house and all of that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Let me get back to these comments. Swaro, what's going on with you? I'll name them in order just to help y'all out. Canelo. Big shout out to you, bro. Beast Killer, yes, Canelo. We got some Canelo fans in the building. English guy said talk about Bivol might drop down to 168.
Can I
Don't
address
know
that?
if there's any truth to it. Shane, do you want to speak on that? Because I can go after you.
Yeah. So basically, obviously, everybody understands that at 175, it's basically controlled by Top Rank. You know, they got Jesse Hart, they have Joe Smith,
Zerto.
they have
Connections with
Zerdo
Zerto.
Ramirez.
They
Connections
used
with
to have
Zerto.
Zerto. I think he got kicked
Yeah,
off.
he a free agent, but they got connections to him. They hit him up. He gonna take a
But
fight.
he was signed to them for and
A long
he was
time.
signed to them for a while, and that's why he was out of the ring for so long because of his contractual obligations with Top Rank.
Right.
That's why he had to do a show on his own card because he wasn't allowed to sign to any other promoter. I don't know if anybody knew that, but that's why
Right.
they had Beterbiev and they had Vodzik and they had Kovalev. So Bivol was looking for fight, but obviously with all of the guys at Top Rank, he was looking to fight Canelo, with Canelo being with the zone as well. And obviously Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith being with the zone, he thought it would be an easy option. Plus, Bivol's not a big 175 pounder. So yes, there was talk of him moving down, but it was only for the right fight. He doesn't have a belt at 168, so there's no point relinquishing the title to go and fight at a weight class that he doesn't have a belt.
And going down in weight. I can see if you going up, but to go down in weight does sound a lot. Hey Chris, what's your thoughts on Dimitri Bivol?
Bivol said a few times that he said he can make 168 with not much of a problem. And he's also sparred with David Benavidez too. So overall, I think he's a solid fighter. He hasn't been getting the stoppages lately, but he's been putting on a masterclass on the boxers he has been fighting.
That's my bro, man. I didn't school Chris well, man. Let me get in. Let me get in on this Bivol thing real quick. The matter of fact, I'm gonna ask the people that's listening right now. I'm gonna ask you, Chris, and I'm gonna ask you, Shane. Shane, I want you to go first. Hypothetical: if Bivol goes down to 168, is he the best at 168?
Well, if Bivol goes down to 168 pounds, personally, I think he beats everybody, including Canelo. I'm not talking about what the judges give, because what the judges give, you don't know what the judges can give. But in terms of just his raw ability, the problem that I always say with Canelo, and I've seen it enough times, even in recent fights, is he doesn't. When he fights someone with good lateral movement, he struggles. Even when he was fighting Kovalev, and Kovalev was nowhere near the Kovalev of old, he was still struggling with the lateral movement. If you look at it, even though he got the stoppage, I think it was 6-5 at the time, and 6-5 to Canelo at the time. So, or maybe even 5-5. Some may have argued one way or the other, but it was a close fight. And Kovalev has nowhere near the footwork and the foot speed and the angles that someone like a Bivol has. So I feel like he would struggle with that. We saw that when he was fighting at 154 pounds. You know, he struggled with Khan's movement. He struggled with Trout's movement. He struggled with Lara's movement. He struggled with Floyd's movement. And I was annoyed when I saw Jacobs, and Jacobs didn't deploy that style. Instead, he was more exchanging at long range, and basically Callum Smith done the same thing, where at long range, instead of moving your feet and let Canelo walk into shots, you try to exchange at long range, and then he just transitions in very quickly. I've never, ever, and Jeff could vouch for this, I've never, ever seen Bivol ever get caught in transition before. Never. And his footwork is probably one of the cleanest in the sport. So I feel like Canelo would have a long, long night in terms of trying to track him down and get to him. And when he does finally get to him, defensively, Bivol is so sound, he doesn't get hit enough to lose rounds. So, I mean, Pascawi was 12-0, Joe Smith, it was 12-0, Chilemba was 12-0, Sullivan Barrero was 12-0. So every single big fight he's had, 12-0. So, I mean, he wins more rounds than anybody. So I feel like it would be hard for Canelo to beat him.
Hey Chris, jump in here. If Bivol goes down to 168, where would you rank him in terms of the top 168 pounders?
I'll put him at number 2. I think David Benavidez would be the only one to beat him.
Explain.
Well,
I've never thought about that. I never thought about
Hold
that.
on, hold on. David Benavidez, that's his guy too. Go ahead.
So I'm a little bit biased, but with David Benavidez, I think his jab and him getting closer and closer, and I think he's got the most power out of all the fighters, and also he's had experience with sparring Bivol, so I feel like he'd know what to expect, and also many interviews where he said no one's ever gotten the better of him in sparring, and that would include Bivol. I know it's just sparring, but he's also had experience with him, like going toe to toe with him in sparring.
Okay. All right, fair enough. I think with Bivol, if he goes down to 160, I think he beats Canelo. I think the reason why he beats Canelo, and for some reason people aren't high on Bivol. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like, Bivol was a human textbook. Like that thick ass textbook you had in school. Like,
Yeah.
that's Dimitri Bivol in the human form when it comes down to boxing. Like that's him. Like, I feel like Bivol would do the same thing Kovalev did against Canelo, but just like 4 times better.
Yeah.
Like 4 times better. Anybody that has a great jab and has some type of movement is gonna give Canelo some type of issues. And Bivol is so disciplined that Canelo can't fight in spurts. He can't fight in spurts against Bivol and win a fight against Bivol. Now, I'm not saying that Bivol would get a decision. I can see the judges robbing Bivol because they don't know what the hell they watching. You understand what I'm saying? But when it come down to it, Bivol would outbox Canelo Alvarez. Like, that's a fact. Like, he would outbox Canelo Alvarez. But let's get to the fight that went down Saturday. What you got, Shane?
No, I was gonna say let's get down to the topic, which was basically.
So, Caleb Plant, 160-pound champion, had a title defense against Caleb Truax. Caleb Plant got a unanimous decision victory, 120-108 on all scorecards. That's 12 rounds to nothing. But he's been catching a lot of heat for the type of performance that he gave. Shane, I'm gonna start with you. Do you feel like people are being a little too harsh on Caleb Plant for the performance that he put on, despite him basically pitching a shutout?
I feel like you got to look at where the criticism is coming from.
It's
You
on
got to
you.
understand that. Yeah, what you got to understand, yeah, is a lot of the people who are criticizing him are probably following this new wave, because the eyeballs on the 168-pound division hasn't been as high as it is before. So what we've seen in recent years is wherever Canelo goes, they start to watch those fighters more. So when Canelo was at 160 pounds, people watched Golovkin and Andrade and the other fighters 168 pounds much more. And now this is probably the first fight Plant has had since the Canelo negotiations, and a lot of eyeballs have been on it. And I guess they expected more, because many people, hardcore people like you and others, and me, other hardcore fans would have said that Caleb Plant's a good fighter and he's gonna cause Canelo issues. And I think they expected to see something that was a bit spectacular. And you got to remember, a lot of the people that follow Canelo aren't used to the hardcore work type fighting. They're used to a little bit more flamboyance and a bit more, something that extra spot, which he didn't have. With that being said, I feel like people are unfair to him because that's just his fighting style. And just because someone doesn't fight necessarily exciting doesn't mean they're not a good fighter. However, I would say Plant should have gone the extra mile to look and at least try to get the stoppage, because there's additional eyes. Because what you got to look at is if people already see you as an underdog or as a person who's going to lose or isn't that great, when the fight does come about, I don't think you've put your best foot forward. And I feel like that's the annoying thing. I just wanted to see a little bit extra. Caleb Plant done exactly what he normally does, but I just wanted to see him go the extra mile. But I'm not too critical because he still got the win.
Chris, you still with us?
I am.
Yeah, you're the one
Okay.
that's frozen.
Hold on. Huh?
No,
You frozen. Oh,
I'm back.
you're back now.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. All right. Hey, Chris, how many times have you watched Caleb Plant before Saturday?
I watched him since Andrew Hernandez.
Okay. So, what was your opinion of Caleb Plant after he got victory over Caleb Truax?
So I was quite a bit disappointed. Like I probably was a little bit unfair at first, just because I mean if he had gotten a shutout against a top 15 or even a top 10, I wouldn't be upset with this. But since it's a Caleb Truax who's been through so many wars and been stopped twice, and he's not the same dude as he was before, and he's like pushing it to he's going towards 40 years old. I really wanted to see Caleb get the stoppage. I was a little disappointed that he got matched up with a guy that's not even top 30, well, according to BoxRec. But I mean, he did a good job. It's just it's he should have tried to step on the gas a little bit and get the stoppage. Overall, it was probably not a good performance for the casual people, but for the hardcores, I understand he did a good job, but he probably should have got a stoppage against someone of if this was 2 or 3 years ago, Caleb Truax, this would have been a more competitive fight, in my opinion. But
hey, Chris, tell them what you told me in the chat about if that was David Benavidez or Canelo Alvarez, how quick they would have got Truax out the way.
Okay, so in my opinion, I think if Canelo or David had fought Caleb Truax, they both would have stopped him in the first 3 rounds. I told him the first round, but I think David would have stopped him in the first or second round. I think Canelo would have probably taken his time a little bit.
But can I say something in response? I'm not saying that you're doing this, by the way, but don't let that cloud your judgment, because just because a fighter deals with another fighter better doesn't mean that fighter is necessarily a better fighter.
Of course.
Because personally, I feel like Benavidez would have walked over him very easily, but Caleb Truax, it's the styles, isn't it? It's the style of Plant. Plant doesn't fight the same style as Benavidez. And I feel like it would be unfair to ask Benavidez to fight that Plant to fight that style, because it's like a bit like they say, you don't want to lose the things that make you. You're a certain style of fighter and you want to be that fighter. I've seen many fighters try to be something that they're not, and they end up looking way worse. I don't know if Jeff, do you remember the Andrade fight when he fought? Who was the guy he just fought? That Irish guy. And he tried to be what did you say?
Luke Keeler?
Yeah, Luke Keeler. And he would try to be so much more aggressive, but he ended up looking way worse than he normally does. And I just feel like you can end up like being, by trying to take 2 steps forward, you take 2 steps back. And I don't really feel like that's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as far as Caleb Plant did exactly what I thought he was going to do. Like, moving around the ring, outboxing the guy, like that's what he's supposed to do. But to the casual fan and the semi-casual fan, that might have been the first time they've seen Caleb Plant fight. So the audience was a little different. So it was a bunch of people that are Canelo fans that never heard of Caleb Plant. And they was like, "Oh, Caleb Plant coming on tonight? Let me see what this dude got," because Canelo talked about him. That was a lot of the crowd that was watching. And the fact that Caleb Plant just put on a typical performance is why people are criticizing him. Like, if he would have put on a performance like he did against Mike Lee, people would be raving about him right now. Even against Jose Uzcategui, if he put on that type of a performance, he
Even
would
that
have been,
fight.
yeah, he would have been good. Like he'd have been good. Like people would have been raving about him. But
But you
he
know
just did
what?
your typical performance.
So you know what? To cut to read to, but I don't feel like that's done him any bad because Billy Joe Saunders has looked trash in his last maybe 3 or 4 fights, and he's got the Canelo fight. So I don't feel like it's done because in the Martin Murray fight he didn't look good. In the fight that you put money on, Jeff, that he got in the stoppage, 11th round stoppage, he didn't look good. And in the what's it called fight, the I can't remember the chef at the Tufi fight, he didn't look that good
You
either.
talking about Akavov?
No, the chef at a Tufi fight, the one where he won
He
the belt.
won the title, the vacant title.
Yeah, the one he won the vacant belt off. He didn't look good in that fight neither.
He got hurt in that one actually.
Yeah, he almost got
Yeah.
dropped. So that's my point. It doesn't always mean that because you're in a bad fight, you can't get it makes you look any bad on the negotiating table.
Well, let me tell you the difference. That's a good point, but let me tell you the difference. Billy Joe Saunders got more of a name than Caleb Plant.
Yeah.
To the boxing public, so he's able to get away with that. With Caleb Plant, he's not able to get away with that.
I get that.
You know what I'm saying? He's not able to get away with that. He said, English guy says, say what? I'm not sure what he's talking about. We got Boxing Learner in the building. He said, but Billy Joe has shown up for big fights, though.
Can I address that? Because I
Go
know
ahead.
Jeff was going to say the same thing.
Go ahead.
He hasn't shown up in a good fight since he got busted for those nasal spray. He hasn't shown up. I'm being real. Since he got busted for the nasal spray, I haven't seen a good performance from Billy Joe Saunders. So it's lead me to ask questions. That's all I'm saying. It's just lead me to ask questions.
He might have asthma.
He might.
I know Teofimo has asthma, but he reported his, though.
What do you think?
Teofimo Lopez has asthma, but he reported his, though.
Yeah, I can.
Just a thought. Yeah, Billy Joe, like, ever since he was supposed to fight Andrade and got caught for being on juices, he hasn't looked the same. Like, it's that simple. You know what I'm saying?
Who would you guys have taken in that fight? Billy Joe versus Andrade in the 160?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question for me. I can answer that. Andrade. Because they fight similar. I'm gonna tell you the difference. When you got two guys in the ring that fights the same, you gotta ask yourself which one is willing to step outside of the box. Andrade is the one that's gonna be willing to step outside of the box before Joe does. Billy Joe, he stays in his element 24/7, whether it's nasal spray or not. He fights the same way all the time. I've seen Andrade actually try to step on the gas and try to do different things and throw different punch combinations from different angles. I've seen him do that. So because of that, I think Andrade would win the fight. You know what? That would be a boring ass fight.
That really would.
It would be a boring fight, man. Like, it's like you fighting yourself in the mirror. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
just because I'm a hardcore fan, I would have watched that fight. But if I wasn't as much of a hardcore fan, I definitely would not be tuning in on that.
No, I would tune in. I would tune in. To me, it would be a good fight. To me, I'll be interested by it because it would get, certain fights. I just want to see how the styles go.
Let me get at that real quick.
Bro, you've gone quiet.
Mike went down a little bit.
Huh?
You're good now, but you went quiet a second ago.
Okay, my bad. Yeah, you said
well, I'm gonna jump off and jump back on.
Okay. Hey, give me just a second, all right?
No worries.
Hey, Boxing Learner, I'm gonna answer your question in just a second. Well, I'm gonna respond to your comment in just a second. I'm gonna let Shane come back in. Chris, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. You in your first live, man. How you
Oh,
feeling?
I started getting really nervous. I started stuttering a little bit.
Nah, we had a guy named Will. He be on the channel all the time. We got him on the live, man. He was nervous as hell, man. I'm like, yo, like just talk, like it's cool, like you know what I'm saying.
So
I'm
I started rambling a little bit, and then I was like, caught myself, and I was like, okay,
like,
cool, I'm cool. But
hey,
I feel
man,
okay.
it's cool, man. It's cool. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna address Box Learner right now because I don't know how long it ain't gonna be. He said again, Andrade really needs to start looking special. Boxing Learner, one thing I will say is people need to jump in the ring with him to give him an opportunity to look special. You know what I'm saying? Demetrius Andrade is a very good fighter. Very good fighter. But if the top guys are not really trying to see him, or he's involved with some political BS or whatever the case may be, it's kind of hard for him to. He's in a can't win situation. If he beats a guy like Liam Williams, or a couple other guys, and he looks spectacular, y'all gonna be like, "Who's that?" You know what I'm saying? But if he struggles any, y'all gonna be like, "He overrated." So it's is he in a tough spot, man? Like he's
Liam
really
Williams
in a
is
tough
a
spot.
decent dude.
Go ahead, Chris.
So Liam Williams is a decent dude. He's a pretty good. I would give him decent. I would give him credit for having a win like that under his belt.
I would too. I would definitely give him credit for Liam Williams' victory, but you got to remember it's a lot of casuals out here and semi-casuals that's probably they'll tell you they know who Liam Williams is, but you ask them how many times they watched them fight, they're gonna tell you zero.
Yeah,
Like, like you know what I'm saying? And I tell
he's
people all the time, I'm like, it's okay if you heard the name but you never seen him fight. I'm like, yo, like you can't evaluate a person just off of just reading records. Like, no, like you gotta actually give the eye test. Like you gotta watch a person fight. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Hold on, this probably Shane.
There he is.
My bro Shane is back. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're good.
Oh, my bad.
Let me get the English guys comment
Can
real
you hear
quick.
me? Can you?
I can hear you. Hey Chris, can you hear him?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. English guy said I've said it before. Andrade has a good style and looks slick, but his record is not impressive at all. Again, he can't, he can't grab guys like Colin and drag them in the ring. You know what I'm saying? And that's the bad thing. Like Andrade's he's been with different promoters and all of that. And he can't get a fight. Like he cannot get a fight. I'm cool with if he get the Liam Williams fight and get that dub, I'm giving him full credit for that. Liam Williams is a solid fighter. He's a solid fighter. Go ahead,
Andre is starting to leave his prime, man.
The camera going, Jeff? Why is the camera going, Jeff? Or Chris, can you see Jeff's camera?
Yeah, I can.
I can see you, Shane.
Yeah,
I can see you.
But I can't see you. You're just black, but it's fine.
No, we can hear you. Go ahead and rock. No, we can hear you. Go ahead and rock.
I was gonna say, but yeah, I've said it. Answering what English guy said is it's very annoying for someone like Andrade because to me is extremely talented, but you don't really see his talent until he's a guy you have to imagine him against one of the top guys, and you could just imagine what he can do just based on how good he is. But one thing I would say that is probably underrated about Andrade is the fact that when people say he's not aggressive, you gotta look at the fact that when he does fight, he starts the fights pretty aggressive. Like in the Keeler fight and in the Sulecki fight, he was extremely aggressive. This is daddy thing. And what that does is if he becomes overly aggressive, he's easier to hit. But when he's less aggressive, he's much and I feel like it's about finding that balance.
Bro, wherever you was at before was better. Bro, wherever you was at before was better.
Is it chopping?
No, when you went to the new spot, it started getting delayed.
And I can hear his voice in your
and I can hear his voice in.
Yeah, go back to your other spot, Shane.
I guess it's because what's it called? 1 second. Continue, guys. You guys can continue speaking, by the way.
Okay. I'm gonna go to the next comment. English guy said, sure would be a good win. Liam Williams is a tough lad, but he's not an elite 160.
He's not elite, but he's top 20 at least.
Say it again, bro.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I said say that again. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I said I said Liam Williams is at least top 20. I wouldn't put him elite, but I think he's at least top 20, if not top 50.
Yeah, I would say top 15, top 20, something like that. Let me get Shane back in.
I know BoxingFirst isn't
still
accurate,
chopping?
but they have him at number 9.
Hey, Shane.
Yeah, is it still cracking?
I can hear you fine. Chris, can you hear him?
Uh-oh. It's chopping up for me like crazy.
It's chopping up for you?
It's chopping up when it's only chopping up when I hear Jeff, and this is so fun.
Oh, Chris came off. Shane, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. I can hear you okay. You're frozen a bit, but it's fine. I was going to say, you know, what Saunders and Canelo fight, when that fight eventually happens.
Say that one more time, bro. Fight or Die Boxing said all of us is choppy.
Wow. All of us are choppy. This is what happens when you haven't been on live for a long time.
Hey, Chris, you back in?
Yeah, I'm back. It's kind of chopping up a little bit.
Yeah, extremely.
I think that's on G5's end.
Hold on, y'all.
I can hear you now clean, Chris. I can hear you very clean, Chris.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Now I can a little bit better.
Chris, can you hear me? I can hear Chris clean. Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Shane.
Chris, can you hear me?
I heard that.
Okay. That's dope. Yeah, I heard that as well. Let's just continue. Hopefully, the people in the
Fight or Die
tell us
Boxing.
if
Shout out
it's
to you,
bad
bro.
or if it's good.
Yeah, Fight or Die Boxing. Big shout out to you, bro. Sorry for the technicals. We've been rocking pretty good. But I'm fresh out of YouTube jail, so my bad. He said it can hear me, but the video choppy. It might be StreamYard too. Yo, but Caleb Plant versus Canelo. How you feel about that?
Yeah, what I was gonna say, Jeff.
So who's going first?
Hey Shane, you go first.
So who's going first?
Hey Shane, you go first.
I think Canelo wins that easy. I think Canelo probably wins that as comfortable as he won the Smith fight. I think early it might be a bit difficult I would even say difficult. It might be difficult for him to pin Caleb Plant down because I think Caleb Plant is definitely going to go and he's definitely going to try and deploy some moves. I do think will happen, which I think will be good for the fans, is that when Caleb Plant realizes he's losing, he's actually going to go for the fight, which I think he can do because if he's in a pocket with someone like Canelo, I think Canelo just ends up his defense is a little bit too tight, and I feel like you end up getting. I can actually even see Canelo getting a knockdown in that fight as well, even though Caleb Plant's punch resistance isn't bad. One with shots.
Okay. Hey Chris, what you think?
Okay. Hey Chris, what you?
At first, I thought you know, when I was talking to you about it, I said I was gonna.
At first, I was talking to you about it. I said I was gonna.
But I kind of changed my mind. I kind of agree with Shane there. I think it's gonna be a bit lopsided, but like I think maybe Caleb Plant might win a couple rounds at the beginning, and then Canelo's gonna adjust, and then win the 12 round decision.
Yo, listen. Jesus West, big shout out to you. Shane, Chris, we definitely have some technical issues. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close this live, and then I'm gonna open up another one.
All right, cool.
All right, I'm gonna send both of y'all the links.
All right.
Everybody in the chat, big shout out to y'all. Coming back on in a couple minutes.
All right, sweet.
All right.